Only the beloved John Starks is in our studio. I don't recognize you out of the golf course. That's usually where I see you, but that's a whole other conversation. I want to go directly to, that was obviously a legendary moment, and we'll see what new ones they're able to create. But, Shump, I want to go back to the conversation we were having right at the top of the hour. The moment between Victor Wembanyama and Jalen Brunson that happened in Game 3 that everyone has been talking a lot about, where he sort of shoves him to the ground, it was not upgraded to a flagrant one yesterday. Shump asked me a question, which I will ask to you. If someone had done that, if Hakeem Olajuwon had done that to you in the NBA Finals, what would Charles Oakley's response have been?
Well, a couple of guys probably would have answered that question.
Right. Well, what is it? What is the appropriate, because people are wondering, should this have been upgraded to a flagrant?
It should be. In today's game, yes. Probably back in our days, just a common foul. But today's game, yes, it should have been upgraded. You see, Jalen never reacted like that, ever. You know, he just completely forgot about that we were still playing basketball.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? So.
And people are wondering what the teammates' reaction is. Like, were you surprised? Maybe everyone didn't see it happen. Do you expect some sort of reaction from the Knicks?
No, you can't get into all of that. You know, you got to stay focused. This team got their hands full with this young squad right here, and so if you start going out there and trying to get a payback, then you get off your game.
Yeah.
So they have to stay focused.
Greedy, the reaction is tonight. For the Knicks to play more aggressive, because I do think that the Spurs had them on their heels in Game 3. They didn't match the urgency, which they have talked about all this postseason, in terms of playing from a place of desperation, and in their mind, the series being 0-0, if not 0-1 in favor of the opponent.
So, John, let me ask you about an adjustment. You may have just seen the video that we just did here with Jay and Shump. That the Knicks offense got a little stagnant at times in Game 3. A lot of Jalen Brunson dribbling the basketball and guys watching, as opposed to some of that great ball movement that had gotten them to this point. What do you expect to see tonight?
Just get back to what they've been doing, you know, since Game 4 against Atlanta. You know, just get back to, you know, going through call, Jalen moving the ball. People got to kind of relax. Okay. You know what I mean? Because sometimes you get ahead of yourself, and I'm just like that. I'm like, okay, you're thinking, okay, they're going to sweep. No. This is a young, aggressive team. They in the finals for a reason, because they're a very good team. And so you have to understand that you got to come out and play your best basketball, execute on the offensive end of the court, execute on the defensive end of the court, take care of the basketball, and just go out there and play the way you're capable of playing. They've been doing a great job, like I said, since Game 4, and they just have to get back to that.
But specifically, with regard to that offensive execution, how do you do it? How do you make sure that it's Towns, again, when he was facilitating, and Shump was doing a great job this morning, like sort of giving me a whole, like, you know, breakdown, it's almost physically of what you wanted to see from Cat with the ball at the top of the circle.
Well, the difference is when Jalen Brunson has the ball, some of his vision is just limited because he has the dribble. You're already engaged, your head is down, you're in an attack mode, so you lose a little bit of your vision. When Cat gets the ball, he's usually in a triple threat. He's holding the ball, he's surveying, but just his eyes alone looking this way, you now have to honor your defensive principle on this side. You have a cut, somebody goes this way. He looks over here, your principles kick in. I think right now the Spurs are able to float around, pass people off, play a zone. They're not surveying their defense. So I just want eyes to make the action for Cat, and that'll get loose for Brunson.
So who's that on? Who is it that has to be on the off day or whatever the case? Is that on the coach? Is that on Brunson?
They will go and look at film.
Film room.
That's where you get it at. You look at films, okay, we didn't do this. You look at Game 1 and 2, we did this, we did that. And you got away from that in Game 3. For whatever reason, you just got away from it. So I think they're going to get back to that offense, you know, where guys are cutting, setting picks. You know, it's basically Golden State offense.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And so you have to understand that you have to go out there and make sure that you set the correct fit. Make sure you come off looking to catch the ball, and that opens up everything else. You can't just go through things.
Yeah, you got to cut hard.
You got to cut hard.
Sprint into screens. You got to create some sort of separation so that guys have angles to attack.
Exactly.
Y'all know where I'm at. All of these things are so accurate about the half court, but truly for the Knicks, they've got to defend better, which hopefully will give them some easier opportunities to score in transition and create energy.
When your team made the NBA Finals, you went up against Hakeem Olajuwon, who's one of the great big men of all time. Now the Knicks are in the finals against Victor Wembanyama. He's 22 years old. This is his first of what some of us think may be many trips to the NBA Finals. Through your eyes, what are we seeing right now?
He's a special player. He's definitely a special player, 7'6", guard-like skills. We haven't seen anything like that in this league, at his size. And so what I like about him, he's a very mature individual. You know what I mean? And he understands the game. And that's probably because he's been playing professionally at a young age. So he's not scared to go out there and play. We basically grown men playing against young players. You know what I mean? And so he is a great leader. You see him on the sideline, dapping his team up and firing them up and what have you. But like I said, you got to match their physicality. Yeah. You can't let them hit first. You got to hit first.
Yeah, it can't be a response to
exactly.
physicality. It got to be like, this is how we play.
Exactly.
Game 1 and 2, this is how the Knicks was playing. Physical. Cat got plenty of clips looking at him. OG dunking on him, looking at him. That all plays a part. So they came out there, they threw the first punch in Game 3. Game 4 should be different.
Yes.
What's been delightful for me as a lifelong New Yorker has been the way that the former Knicks have been embraced by the organization.
Alumni row, Greeny. This guy and both of y'all trying to be on the floor with the players.
And seeing you there with the legends. And look, I'm old enough that I go back to guys like Walt Frazier and Willis Reed, and to me, those will always be the great Knicks. I think Patrick Ewing, your longtime teammate, who's of course also a part of this, is considered now by many to be the greatest Knick of all time. If they pull this thing off, will you say Jalen Brunson is the greatest Knick of all time?
Jalen's up there in the running. I'm gonna always go with my big fella.
With
what I mean?
Ewing.
Yeah, no question. But Jalen, we're not even thinking about those things. First and foremost, we got to win a championship. As simple as that. We can't get ahead of ourselves. And I think we got to keep that focus in order to get this job done in the next 2 games.
I mean, people in this town romanticize your era. Again, you guys came so close. I have a very good friend I play golf with whose son is named Oakley. I mean, they love those teams so much. What would it mean to you, and what do you think it would mean for the city if the Knicks finally get this done?
It'll mean everything. This is about the fans. And you see the loyalty of our fans. Everybody see it. Yeah. You know what I mean? Around the country, around the world. Everybody see the loyalty of New York Knicks fans. And so they've been waiting 53 years to be able to get this done. And those guys understand it. And they understand the energy that's in the garden, that's outside the garden, that's around this city. Those guys are feeling that. And I remember they was talking about shutting them down. I'm like, no, don't let nobody steal your joy. Keep it going, because these guys are feeding off of that.
Yep. John is with us today, courtesy of AT&T, which brought him here today, and he'll be on a variety of the shows. So good to see you.
Pleasure.
Best of luck. Enjoy the game tonight.
Thank you.
I'll see you on the golf course at some point fairly soon. Coming up, much more on the NBA Finals.
He gets early, allows him to be more of a triple threat as a scorer down the stretch when you need him to close.
OG Anunoby had a big Game 3. You like him over 20 points tonight? Tell me why.
I think he's one of the few matchups in the league. Like, low-key, there are times where he feels like the best player on the court. I'm not saying that's always the case.
No.
But when he's able to attack certain matchups and use that bigger body frame and get his shot off, I think the Knicks are a way better basketball.
Low key, high key, any key.
Come on, Keys, Greeny, give us the keys.
OG Anunoby, I think, is as good as any player on the Knicks can be, as valuable as any player on the Knicks. The last one is Stephon Castle. You're going over on 15 points with him.
Yeah, I am. I think this is a layup. I just think his ability to get to the rim in transition, he attacks matchups, and there's certain things you're going to have to concede, right? And you don't want to concede to Wemby because I think the way he moves the game, impacts the game on both ends of the floor. So I think a guy like Castle picks up the slack.
So, again, Jay is going Jalen Brunson over 6 assists, Anunoby over 20 points, Stephon Castle over 15 points, those and many more picks available at DraftKings Sports. As for tonight, we mentioned it before, and Shump pulled out his ring, but history tells us 3-1 in the NBA Finals is almost over. 37-1 are teams that go up 3-1. The one, of course, was Shump's 2016 Warriors with LeBron and Kyrie and company, who came back to beat Golden State in one of the most famous finals in NBA history. That said, Monica, I opened the show this morning by saying there's a part of me that feels like the Larry O'Brien Trophy should be in the building. I feel like the way the series shapes up, I feel like whoever wins tonight is going to wind up winning the title.
Tonight is big. I'm not ready to say that, but I think it's big, and I think there's pressure on the New York Knicks. But the beauty of it is I think there'll be diamonds as opposed to pipes that'll be broken by the pressure. They've got to be able to take advantage of home court. It's that simple. Because, Greeny, do the math. As good as they have been in this postseason, if this thing goes back to San Antonio tied, you got to go to San Antonio twice and take care of business, right? And I think the Spurs, the Spurs for me grew tremendously because I didn't think that they could get back-to-back wins in the way that they closed out the Thunder. I also think think the longer this series goes, the better and the more experience in real time they are getting.
I'm going to go with the Spurs to win tonight. I mean, I think there's a certain level of poise that they showed in Game 3 that it allowed them to kind of reset the clock, right? They turned the ball over at a high clip the first 2 games. I mean, now you're talking about Game 3, 28 assists, 8 turnovers. Yeah. The Knicks defense can be disruptive, but still the physicality of the guards, they can take care of the ball. A lot of it is if you can speed them up, but I think they're playing slower. I think this is going to, we often said Knicks in 6 or Knicks in 7, if that's what we're saying, but I think tonight the Spurs get a win.
Again, a road team has won all 3 of the first games, the first 3 games in this series. Shump, so you're picking the Knicks. Tell me why. What is it that we're going to open the show tomorrow morning saying was the reason the Knicks won?
Because they played through Cat for 3 quarters. I think that they're going to look at that film, a la what John Starks was saying. They're going to look at that film and realize that they let an opportunity slip, that they went and did their work early, and now they need to finish the job. They have to activate the rest of their players. Deuce McBride struggles if the ball doesn't move. Landry Shamet struggles if the ball doesn't move. Mikal Bridges struggles if the ball doesn't move. If you have to move the ball and you can't ask Jalen Brunson to go out here and at 6'1" throwing skip passes, you give the ball to Cat, you let Jalen move off the ball, loosen things up, get his energy all the way up, and then we're going to deal with Brunson for the whole 4th.
So, Vince, you're covering the game for us, so no pick here, but what will you be watching specifically early that will give you a sense of which way you think tonight's going to go?
I'm not looking for Karl Towns early. I want to look for Victor Wembanyama's energy early, how he starts the game. He doesn't have to be the catalyst because I think that is the Dylan Harpers. I think that's Steph Castles. I want to see how San Antonio sort of rises to the level. Like Game 3 was more of a circus atmosphere for everybody, and San Antonio actually felt more comfortable there. They didn't feel like, this has nothing to do with us. This is y'all thing. Y'all got to deal with it. Y'all have to deal with all this other stuff. We just have to play basketball. And they are growing in experience through this. So I want to see if they recognize that they are now off the mat.
Greedy, very realistically, both teams should argue they could have one more win based on how things finish. Game 2 for the Spurs, and as good as the Spurs were in Game 3, the Knicks were still right there late. And so, and that's just the nature of the finals to a degree in terms of the opportunity being in the margins in a very real way. But I think the Knicks settle in. The circus has moved on.
I'm very curious to hear what you guys think about this. Obviously, we talk a lot about Brunson dribbling the air out of the ball, getting the ball out of his hands, getting the ball in the hands of Cat. You talked about Cat not early, Victor early. So when is that Cat time? That Keldon Johnson matchup, how he handles that matchup is going to be one of the biggest things tonight. Because when Wemby's in the game, you can move the ball around. But when they start pressuring you and you're forced to make a decision and they start denying passing lanes so the ball can't move to the outside, how Cat handles that is going to be
He got to realize.
Here's the biggest thing, Sean. The biggest thing tonight that we've talked about sort of on the periphery is how is the game going to be called? We talked about how it's going to be early. Are the officials going to let this thing play out, or will they call it tight because they are afraid of a Victor Wembanyama incident, something going too far? Usually there's an inflection point in the playoff series where it goes, and then it starts scaling back a little bit as the games get more physical. I'm very curious if the Knicks come out with a physical mindset and if the refs allow the game to be played like it was in Game 3.
Look at Spike Lee. I hadn't noticed that part of the video. When he gets thrown to the ground, Spike Lee is the first one out of his chair. It has actually, there are no other arenas in the NBA where the first thing you do is notice who it happens in front of. You know, did that happen in front of Spike Lee or did it happen in front of Olivia Benson? Which side of the floor did that happen? You watch SVU? I love that. She was over there with Stabler.
Hey, they were in the arena for the right reasons on Game 3.
That's exactly right.
DJ Khaled was too busy texting.
What will you be? Go ahead, Shump. Go.
Hey, focus.
Don't be calling him out for that.
People enjoy games differently.
I just know that when we see this matchup right here, especially there's times that
Which matchup?
Keldon Johnson on Cat. There's times that we're going to see this matchup and we're going to think it's a man-to-man. They're actually playing a zone.
That's when you were out of your seat yelling the other
I want Cat to understand that so he understands all the options he has. Pinning people, disrupting things, making Keldon feel like he needs to get out for a rotation, learning to play and play behind him and be able to play his back to the baseline. He just got to make sure he's paying attention to the film because it's his own, brother.
It's as big as a game could be, and we've got it for you tonight. Game 4 of the NBA Finals.